Okay, Jennifer, it's recording. So do you want to go ahead and get us started here?
That sounds wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Can they hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our presentation on the three I's. We're going to visit Iceland, Ireland, and Italy tonight. We also have Gerard here from Collette Vacations. If you watched our previous show, that was March 18th, we went over a little bit of information on the national parks. My name is Jennifer Garris. I have been with Travel Pros now for 25 years. And I've been to several locations, and one of my dream locations is definitely going to Iceland. Of course, Ireland, and Italy. But my first location I'd like to go to is Iceland. So I'm very excited about learning what he has to present to us this evening. We also have Glenda and Sarah. They're also your Travel Pros team. So if you have any questions, definitely go ahead and fill it in the chat box, and then we will try to answer them, as quickly as we can, or we can follow it up with an email. So thank you again, and thank you, Gerard, for doing this presentation again. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer, and hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us on this call this evening. My name is Gerard Welch, and I am the local representative. When I say local, I live in Alexandria, Virginia, around the DC area. And I've been with Collette for going on 6 years. Just a brief history about Collette. If you've never heard about us before, we're a family-owned and operated tour operator based out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We've been in operation since, if you can believe this, 1918. That's a heck of a long time, if you ask me, over 100 years. And that expertise is passed along in our operations and our service and our quality. And we wouldn't be here without all of you. So once again, I thank you all for hopping on this call. As Jennifer has said, I've actually will love to go to Iceland myself. I was planning on going several years ago before the crowd came there, but I have been to Italy numerous times, and I have been to the UK, but not specifically over to Ireland. So this presentation will give you a nice little brief overview of some of the great destinations that we have to offer for all of our guests out there. If you get a chance, I would encourage all of you to go to that registration link again. I placed a link for an online brochure. So in case you want to take a look at some of the packages while I'm speaking, I definitely would encourage it. Or feel free to go to our main website, gocollette.com. We have all of our information there too. But what's typically included on these itineraries that I'm going to show you? Well, we have our four-star hotel accommodations. So we have all of our hotels listed for all of you. A lot of times we encourage you to go see our hotels because of where they're located and what amenities are included. And that's part of our brand recognition. Also, Collette is a guided or escorted tour operator, and what that means is essentially we do have a tour manager who's going to be with all of you throughout the whole entire trip. So it's not uncommon to have other travelers from around the world join up with you on your incredible destination, wherever that takes you to. We have offices, our main office is in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, but we coincidentally do have an office in London. So we do have operations over there, as well as in Sydney, Australia. So our tour managers are absolutely amazing. They come with the expertise of that over 100 years that's passed around generation to generation. And no, they're not going to be 100 years old. And also we do use a lot of local guides. And those local guides tend to live in those little small towns and villages that we take you to. And in my opinion, it's all about the cultural immersion. And there's no better way to really get to learn about a culture than having a private guided tour of someone who lives in those areas. Also, in all of our itineraries, most meals are included. Typically, breakfasts are always included. Lunches and dinner kind of vary. And that gives you ample free time to go out and do some shopping, or maybe you want to find an opportunity with your partner or family member just to kind of go out and peruse some of the museums that we have to offer. Otherwise than that, transportation is included. And one big thing that's great about a Collette tour too is when you travel with us, and especially when you fly with us, we send a private sedan service to pick you up from your home. As long as you live within 75 miles of any major gateway around the country, we will pick you up from your home. We'll take you to and from the airport before the trip and after the trip. And that's one of the nice little luxuries when traveling with a Collette vacation tour. So without further ado, we do have a lot to cover, so I'm going to dive right into it. And our first destination that we're going to take you to is the wonderful country of Italy. If you've never been to Italy, my God, it's a place that people would just go to again and again and again. If you're new to going to Italy, if you've gone there again, I mean, it's a fairly large country. There's just so much history, so much art history and culture, and the food is just absolutely amazing. My God, if you are a wine connoisseur, you're just in a dreamland here. But you know, one of our packages, if not most of our packages, we usually begin in the city of Rome, which is also known as the Eternal City, that has over 3,000 years of history. We have the Colosseum. We have private tours inside the Colosseum, around the Colosseum. We take you over to Florence, which is one of the world capitals of art treasure. I believe Florence is actually holds 1/3 of art treasure in the world, and we'll have a private tour in Florence, plus many other cities outside of Florence, including Venice, famous for its Murano glass and its canals where you can take a gondola ride, maybe a nice little romantic retreat for yourself. And Italy has some remarkable coastline right along the Mediterranean. And we have a lot of packages where we take you right along the coast here. So just overall, just a really amazing time if you've never been over to Italy, and I'll show you some of the packages here. Now, one of the really great things about going to Italy is the food, of course. And I know that we probably have some members on this call who probably have Italian roots or some type of family members or friends that are from Italy. But I would say the Italian food that we have in the States is very different than the food that they have over in Italy, especially because over there, there's multiple courses when they serve you food here. And one thing about our guests that kind of catches them off surprise is that typically meals, especially dinner, are served at a later time. So you kind of want to prepare yourself whenever you're whenever you're about to begin your food course of the day. But typically they start off like an antipasto, then they go into a second course, which is like more of like a meat dish or a vegetable or a pasta dish. And then also they'll serve another third dish, which is also the main course. So there's lots of different like smaller dishes that come with their meals wherever you go. Likewise, I had mentioned if like you're a wine connoisseur, I mean, Northern Italy is very different than Southern Italy and Sicily, and the wines that are produced from the different regions are going to be very different tasting in the way that they're produced. And a lot of our packages, we take you over to the local vineyards where we get to meet the owners of the vineyard. They walk us around, they teach us how they grow their grapes, different seasonality of the grapes and the wine production. Also, olive oil is really well known to come from Italy. So I know a couple of our packages, the place that we take you to for making olive oil, they take care of shipping it back over to the country for you. So you don't have to package it up and take it with you, which is a nice little treat for our guests. Now, when you are traveling to Italy, I definitely would pack some good walking shoes because it's still very much like old world country. Like even Rome itself has over 4,000 years of history, and those cobblestone streets are very common no matter where you go in Italy, and you'll see that when you go over here. And when is the perfect time to travel into Italy? I would say, like, honestly, the best time to go to Italy is going to be the shoulder seasons or the off season, where you get away from crowds and it's not as hot and humidity is not as bad. And the best time I'd recommend would probably be like March, April, and May. And I would say even October, September, October, early November. But it really depends on like, are you going to Northern Italy or Southern Italy or Sicily? I even have some guests. I have had sent some guests over into Sicily in February, and the weather there is spectacular. So it's like right along the Mediterranean. You're looking at weather 70 degrees. So it's cold here in the States, but it's nice and toasty over there in Sicily. So you definitely want to pack appropriately. But I think the off season, the shoulder seasons are the best time to basically just avoid those crowds, shorter wait lines to get into museums, and just overall just have a great tour. So the first tour that I wanted to show you was Italian Vistas, and I did this on purpose because I think this is a great tour to really show you if you've never been to Italy before and you want to see kind of all the must-sees that Italy has to offer. We'll be able to stop in Rome. We'll see the Sorrento coast, Florence, Venice, Thressa. We even see the northern aspects of Italy, the Lake District. When we head over into the Colosseum on this particular package, one of the great things too is that we give all of our guests whispers, which if you can see my screen, I don't know if I have my video on, but they're basically like little walkie-talkies. And you can walk away from the tour manager and just listen to the guy talk about some of the history. So that way, like, you don't have to be really crowded up to the tour manager to hear them. You can just go away, kind of cruise and do your own thing while listening to the tour manager give some of the history. Also, I mean, like I said, this is a great tour. If you've never been to Italy before, I'd recommend it to you. It is a fairly longer one. It is 13 days. So it's about 2 weeks of a commitment, but you can't go wrong with this. And I will tell you, without a doubt, out of 160 packages that we have to offer, Italian Vistas ranks number 3. So that's like surveys that all of our guests are telling us that they love this package. So definitely would recommend it to anybody who's new to going to Italy, or if you know, once again, you want to go to Italy and kind of see those major cities you've never seen before. Now, one that's a little bit of a step down, because not everybody has 2 weeks of vacation to kind of go out there into the world, and that's a-okay. We have another tour called Reflections of Italy, and that was a 10-day package. And this one's just as good as Italian Vistas. You know, you'll be able to see a lot of the same aspects of the Italian Vistas tour, but at 3 days less. So this one, Rome, Assisi, Siena, Florence, Venice, and Milan. We even take you over to one of the large, well, if you're, I guess, into like Catholicism, but we'll take you over to the birthplace of St. Francis over in Assisi. And also, I think people know about Siena because of the horse racing that they do in the Campalata. And that's a really cool aspect of the tour. Now, of course, we're not going to partake in that, but you'll be able to see that famous horse race that takes place there. So there's a variety of different historical architectures here, from the Duomos, the Renaissance period, the medieval Gothic period. And once again, you know, the food aspect will take you over to a local winery where we get to learn about how they make the Chianti and the wines that are produced from the region. So once again, it's a great package. If you don't have 2 weeks and you want to do something that's a little bit more condensed. And then also, just a step down from that, just in case you don't have 10 days and you just want to see the major cities of Rome, Florence, and Venice, we do have a great package for you for that one. Much like earlier where we saw kind of the major cities, we'll also be able to see some of the major museums here, like the Academy Gallery, where Michelangelo's David's located. We'll also be able to go on a foodie tour in Bologna, where you'll be able to try like fresh cheeses, cured meats, breads, chocolates. You'll see like how open markets are here when you're walking around. And also Venice is amazing. It's a city that's like sinking into the ocean. If you've never been before, they're really well known for 2 things. Gelato, in my opinion, the gelato's great, and also Murano glass. So there's a small little island right off the coast of the main city of Venice. It's called Murano, and they do this really amazing glass making there. And we show our guests how they do the glass making here. And the glass making has been going on for hundreds of years, and it's passed down from generation to generation. So it's a great package. The other Italy tour I wanted to show you is Rome and the Amalfi Coast. The reason I like this one, honestly, is because you spend 3 nights in Rome and 5 nights in the Amalfi Coast. Like, you're not really like moving and grooving a lot. You're not unpacking, packing, unpacking, packing like we've seen earlier. This one, you're simply just kind of relaxing, and you're getting that guided tour portion, and you're really seeing all the highlights that make up like the Amalfi Coast region and in Rome. Now, one of the cool things too about in the Amalfi Coast portion of this particular package is we show you how to make buffalo mozzarella from scratch, which is awesome. So you can try some buffalo mozzarella as well as limoncello. So once again, the foodie aspect of this tour. But this is a great tour to go in April. In my opinion, you'll get really fair rates if you want to go in March, and plus the weather's fantastic. You're still looking at about 60 degrees. The one thing though I would keep in mind is it does get kind of rainy, especially in March. You know, I've had guests go there where it's been raining quite a bit at that time period, but you know, the price point is low to moderate. So if you're looking for a great deal, great weather, and just great history tour, I'd recommend that one. So another tour I wanted to show you was our spotlight on Tuscany. This is a single hotel stay where you unpack once, and you spend 7 nights in Montecatini Terme. Montecatini Terme, its nickname is the city of spas. And I kid you not, there's like 20 different spas that are within like 2-mile walking distance. I find that a lot of travelers that go on this particular package tend to be like all ladies group. So if you do have like some friends and family that, you know, want to go with you, you can get a little spa treatment, take you over to a local winery. I think we even have a cooking class on this particular program where they show you how to make 3 different styles of pastas and fresh sauce. It's like a hands-on cooking class, and I've had a lot of guests rave about it. So once again, you get to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's just a great tour because you get to unpack once, simply relax. And there's also a few days where you have time to yourself and you can do your own thing with your family or your friends or with your partner. Now, I know we get a lot of guests who've been to the mainland Italy, but they haven't been to like Sicily. And even though I'm not Italian myself, but I have heard that Sicilians like to not consider themselves Italians and vice versa, but I'll leave that debate up to you guys. But anyways, Southern Italy and Sicily is a package that I find that a lot of guests will go like in February, March. And I kid you not, February is a great time to go in Sicily because it's so far south that the weather is definitely spectacular. And as you can see on this program, we do spend quite a bit of time in Sicily. And there's a couple national parks in Sicily, Mount Etna National Park, where we walk you to. And I would say like Sicily has a lot more agricultural aspect compared to the mainland of Italy. You'll see a lot of like orange, lemon, and fig trees. There's beautiful beaches in our hotel resort in Giardini Naxos, where you can walk outside your hotel and just go straight to the beach if you want to get some sun. And also, you know, what's really cool about this tour too is that you won't find a lot of tour operators or programs out there that take you over to the southeastern portion of Italy in Matera and Alberobello. And the architecture here is really fascinating because, in my opinion, most of Italy is like very colorful, vibrant. It's attractive in that aspect, but like this part of the like portion of Italy is it's very much more like stone-like. And there's still even like caves where people live. And the government to this day is having an issue kicking people out of those caves. And there's like first remnants of like human life over in this area. So if you're a person that's really into like archaeological sites, this is a great tour to go to. And plus it does have like that Sicily aspect. This is a fairly new tour that came out just before like COVID came about, but we do have some guests who just want to like go to Sicily. So I wanted to show you this one if you're just interested in Sicily. And there's also another package we have that doesn't have Malta, but we find that guests are interested in Malta too. So we have a Sicily and Malta, and then we also have one that's just Sicily without Malta. So we do have a couple options for you if you are interested in either one. So I just wanted to show you just some quick highlights of Italy in general. If you've seen like never been here before, or you're just curious about just some of the destinations I'm talking about, Sorrento Coast, absolutely gorgeous, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Fun fact for you, excuse me. So the tower was built along a marshland, and they didn't know that, but that's what's causing it to lean because it's sinking back into the earth. And it's actually fairly large, and the Duomo there is to the left there. Here's this Murano Island. That's the famous glass making that I had mentioned. Really beautiful, gorgeous glass that's produced from here. Verona, Lago Maggiore. This is the Lake District. This is one of the 2 largest lakes that are in northern Italy, Lake Como or in Lago Maggiore. On a couple different packages, we take you on a small little boat ride that takes you over to Isola dei Pescatori, which is one of the small little islands here. And we have like a wine tasting on the island. It's really well known for like high-end leather goods. If you're into like shopping, like you can get a nice little leather belt or a wallet or a purse. Here's Assisi, which is absolutely gorgeous. St. Francis was born here. Perugia, Piazza del Campo. Here's Milan, one of the fashion capitals of the world. You can spend an extra couple nights here if you want. Here's a beautiful Amalfi Coast. If you've never seen it before, it's just incredible that humanity had built like towns and cities along these coast here. And just you know, the time of the year that you go, it's just going to be fantastic with the weather that comes into here. Very hustling, bustling, a lot of people around. Shot of Naples. Here's just a shot of Vatican City. We actually go inside the city itself. Now, I do get requests if the Pope is there, are we allowed to do like some form of mass, especially with Catholics? And No, not so much. So that's like a special occasion. Plus, it's way too crowded for like, you wouldn't really want to be around that crowd, especially with our group. So maybe if that's something you're interested in, we can look at you doing it on your own. So here's just a shot of St. Peter's, Cinque Terre, which, by the way, Cinque Terre is only accessible by ferry, boat, and donkey. So we do have a program that will take you over into here too. Nice, good shopping area and just some really incredible history. St. Mark's Basilica, Agrigento. I believe we actually take you over to a wine region here where we get to try some of the fresh wines, Valley of the Temples, so on and so on. So hopefully that gave you a nice little brief preview of what Italy has to offer. So we're going to hop on a plane and we're going to fly out of Rome and we're going to make our way over to the island of Iceland. And I'll tell you, like, probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Iceland was not that popular. And then somehow, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, Iceland became like the new it destination where Americans were all about going into Iceland. And plus, I don't know where everybody on this call lives, but for us that live in kind of the DMV area, Iceland has some incredible airfare rates to get over there from Washington Dulles. And we take you over to Reykjavik, which is the capital. I believe Reykjavik also just won an award for one of 6 cities of literature, and Dublin, which we'll talk about later, also received that award. Here's the Golden Circle, which we'll traverse. It's about 150 miles in terms of its radius on the bottom left corner of Iceland. If you're a person that's interested in, Iceland's a destination if you're a person that's interested into like natural ecology, like volcanoes, mountains, hot lava springs. It's definitely got much more of like that kind of Viking feel to it because the Danes had conquered it at one period of time. And one of the really incredible things too about Iceland is that they're a country that really depends on geothermal energy and sustainability. So if that's something that might be of interest of you, I definitely recommend Iceland. Of course, we take you over to the Blue Lagoon where you can dip your toes in the hot springs. I will say, if you can tell my photo, I'm bald here. I will give you a heads up for anybody that's bald out there. I get people who get in the hot springs and they're always like, oh man, it's so great, but it's so cold. My head's so cold. So they always recommend bringing a winter cap to keep your head warm. And also, fun fact for you is Iceland has the largest national park in all of Europe, and that's Vatnajökull National Park, which we take you over to. Iceland's just a really cool destination to go to, and I hope I encourage all of you to visit on one of our wonderful packages here. Now, Iceland's really not well known for its food. I'll flat out just say that. It's kind of it is a little bit of a pricey area to buy food with, which is even more reason to go with a tour operator because we take care of that for you. But one of the things that's really well known in terms of like Icelandic diet is veal. They do eat a lot of veal, vegetables that are grown in the greenhouse gases. And also, like, everybody wants to try hakkarl. If you never had it before, it's basically fermented shark. And that's something I've seen lots of guests take like a little spoonful and put it in their mouth, and it lasts less than a second in their mouth before it's back on the ground. So if you're up for it, go for it. But outside of that, Iceland has a variety of different fish: haddock, halibut, mackerel. It's all fresh, caught the same day, so you know you're going to get some fresh food that's caught from there. But Iceland's really a really interesting destination to go to if you're up for an adventure. Now, when is the best time to go to Iceland? That's really the question you should ask yourself. And more importantly, the question you should ask is, do I want to see the Northern Lights or not? Because that's going to dictate the time of the year that you should go to Iceland. I will tell you that if you want to see animal life, you want to go in the summer. That will be pretty much any time from like April to September. Like, that's when the most of the animals are going to be there. I know we have some probably note takers on this call. Do yourself a favor and look up when whales are migrating, because our summer programs, we take you on a summer excursion on the northwest end of Iceland to go whale watching. It's very heavily regulated, so we have to follow a certain path, but you'll get some great shots if we do see the whales out there. And also, if you do want to see the Northern Lights, the best time to go see the Northern Lights is going to be the darkest months. So technically, Northern Lights season begins I would say October to April, but all honestly, like, if you want to see the Northern Lights, you're going to want to go December, January, and February. And also, just a little tip of the trade, when you're looking at Northern Lights season, take a look at the lunar calendar. I kid you not, When it's a full moon, I like to call it God's flashlight. It's seriously, it's so bright out, you can't see the northern lights. So you're gonna go when it's a full moon, the moon's not out, it's a clear sky, which by the way, Iceland has about 70% cloud coverage too. So luckily with our packages, you're there enough times or enough days where you can go out and see the northern lights. But you can go to Iceland anytime, really. And I find that a lot of guests who do go to Iceland, they like to go at least 2 or 3 times, once during the off season, once during like when the animals are out. So we have a few different packages of Iceland. The first one I just wanted to start off with showing you was the 9-day package called Land and Fire and Ice. And this one does visit a lot of the waterfalls, the Golden Circle. I think there's a couple of hiking trails that we take you along. Keep in mind, this is definitely an active tour, so you want to bring some good hiking shoes while on this particular tour. So we start off in Reykjavik. We head up north into Stykkishólmur. By the way, if you're a big Game of Thrones fan like I am, this is the filming location of Game of Thrones. This is where they cross the wall and they see that big mountain in the distance. And you can see that little blue line in the top left corner. That's where we take you on that whale watching adventure. So I wanted to show you this map because we actually have 2 different packages that visit this portion. We have one that's a small group tour that caters up to about 19 to 24 passengers in total. And that one does take you up more to the northeast portion of Iceland. And if you're a bird watcher, there's a rare species of birds that comes up into that region. And there's a famous marathon. It's Lake Vatn is what it's called in there. But as you can see, we're traversing along the Golden Circle here. So we'll see the Gullfoss waterfall. We'll see over Skatafell, Jökulárlón Glacier Lagoon, where you actually get to try over 1,000-year-old frozen water that we melt in a cup. So how cool is that, right? And also, when we head down to Vik, many of you probably are familiar, like there was a volcano that erupted in Iceland. I don't know what year that was, like 2007 or 12, somewhere in there. But anyways, it shut down like all the airfare in all of Europe. Like that's just how big this volcanic eruption, what happened, what took place here. And one of the cool things about this particular program is that when we head over into Vik in the southern aspect of Iceland, we get to meet up with a family that lives there and talk about what was life like living when this volcano erupted. Like, what was that like? I mean, that's such a cool experience that we have built into this package, and they absolutely love having us come there to visit them as well. So another tour of Iceland, and this visit's primarily for the Northern Lights. And once again, Northern Lights season is going to be the best time to go. In my opinion, it's going to be December, January, and February. So like sunrise is about 10:30 in the morning and sunset's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you really get like that darkness, and that's what you want when you're going to go see the Northern Lights. But we'll spend some time in Thingvellir National Park, Gullfoss once again, and lots of same aspects that we saw before. But this is primarily just for like the Northern Lights if you're up for it. And we do take you over to the Golden or the Blue Lagoon, so you can dip your toes into there. If you don't want to do that, that's a-okay. We do have another choice where you can walk along like a small little hiking trail for the lava, the hot springs. So really great destination. Here's some quick shots. Gullfoss waterfall, which by the way, Gullfoss means golden. And this is 3 cascading waterfalls. They're about 100 feet in elevation here. Stroker Geyser, one of the more famous geysers that's here. Doralay. I don't know what year it was, but you know how they always do these like extreme sports where they like dive out of the stratosphere, and you know how far can a human fall before they hit the ocean with a parachute. Well, Red Bull did an extreme flight where they took a biplane, they flew it right underneath that arch there. I think it's on YouTube. You can watch a video of it. Here's just a shot of Hallgrímskirkja Church. This is one of the largest Lutheran churches in all of Europe. Whether you're religious or not, I think the architecture of it's absolutely amazing because it's supposed to resemble basalt. Basalt forms when lava hits the ocean or the water and it cools off real fast. And there's a huge statue of Eric the Red that sits right in front of the church itself. It's absolutely incredible in terms of the architecture. Here's Skogar. We take you over to a museum here where they have like some of the remnants of the Vikings or the Danes that first came into the area. Also, fun fact for you, but this is where the first elements of what we consider a parliament formed here over in Iceland. Here's Skogafoss waterfall. We take you on a journey actually behind the waterfall too, so you get some great shots behind the waterfall and in front. And there's supposedly some hidden treasure there, which you'll have to share with me once you find. Here's just a shot of Reynes Frara. There's a species of birds that come in here, cormorants that come into this region. And Snæfellsjökull National Park has one of the largest glaciers. I think there's actually about 2 years ago, they had a glacier, some of it fell off into the ocean and guests kind of got trapped there. They were told not to go out there, but they wound up doing it. We take it as a family-owned dairy farm. We learn a little bit about the ecology that's grown here, the food that's produced here. Just a shot of some of the puffins. Here's a shot of the Blue Lagoon. Once again, just a really amazing destination if you're up for an adventure of a lifetime and going over to Iceland. Here's just another shot of Reykjavik. This gives you a great scale of how big this waterfall is with the guests on the bottom of the shot and just how large it is. Okay, so now we're going to fly out of Iceland. So we're going to hop back on our plane on Reykjavik, and now we're going to head over to the Emerald Isle of Ireland. And Ireland, I find that anytime I talk about Ireland, there's always somebody in the call that has some type of Irish roots. And I tell you, it's not uncommon for guests to dive into the family tree and reach out to family members in Ireland and meet up with them on our tour. If that's something you're interested in, just let us know. We'll give you a time schedule and you can make some time to meet up with your family that's over there if that's something you're interested in. But we'll take you over to Dublin, which I said earlier received also a award for City of Literature. Also the Cliffs of Moher, which are incredible. I believe the cliffs cascade about 200 feet into the ocean. There's a tower, I don't have a shot of it in this particular slide. It's called O'Brien's Tower, where we take guests to. And I'll show you some more shots here in a little bit. But so Irish cuisine, very different than Italian cuisine and very, very better than Iceland cuisine. Irish cuisine reminds me of going over to grandma's house when you're growing up as a kid and you just love grandma's cooking, because I mean, that's what it is. It's home cooked, hearty meals, potatoes, cabbage, meats, and it's just delicious move. You know, lots of scones and buttermilk mixes, and just overall just good old comfort food in my opinion. And a couple of our Ireland tours, we take you over to a family farm and they show us what life is like on the farm. And one of the owners of one of the farms that we take you to, they make fresh scones for our guests and tea in the morning, which is awesome. And then they do a little sheep herding demonstration for our guests. So but you know, there's a variety of different aspects of Ireland outside of the food itself. I know I get a lot of whiskey connoisseurs who are interested in Ireland whiskey. We do actually take you over to Kilbegan into a whiskey distillery. So if that's something you're interested in learning about, as well as Guinness in Dublin. So, but outside of that, when you're packing to go to Ireland, Ireland's weather is kind of fair. I mean, I would say more or less, you're kind of looking on average weather about anywhere from 50 degrees up to 70 degrees. So it's not really super hot. It's not super cold. It's somewhere in that medium. Also, you definitely want to bring a rain jacket, because it's definitely not uncommon for it to rain quite often when you're going into Ireland, or pretty much anywhere in Great Britain in its entirety. So otherwise than that, bring some good walking shoes, because a lot of our Irish adventures, we take you more or less into the country aspect. Although we do have a couple main cities we do take you to, specifically Dublin and Waterford. But you definitely want to bring some comfy shoes, as well as not hiking shoes like Iceland, but comfortable shoes and a good rain jacket when you're coming into here. And I already talked about the weather. I'll skip over this, but let's just dive into it. So Shades of Ireland. I really should have started this whole presentation off with this, because I tell you, this is our #1 rated tour out of 160 packages. This is the tour that guests out of our 100 years love going to. I get a lot of guests who will do this tour again and again and again. Shades of Ireland is just 10 days in Ireland. We visit the main sites of it, the Blarney Stone. We have the Blarney Castle, Dublin, a whole city tour, Phoenix Park, the Trinity College. We'll see the Book of Kells, Phoenix Park. We even take you over to a local pub, which sounds kind of goofy. You take us to a pub. Well, pubs are very different than here in the US. In the US, we go to bars just to have fun. But pubs in the UK and in Ireland, this is where a local community comes to share and have conversation and just enjoy one another. It's just a little bit different in terms of the atmosphere. We also take you down into Waterford. So I'm sure there's guests on this call who are familiar with like Waterford crystal. So we have a tour of the factory. So if you want to purchase some crystal for yourself, we take you over to the Ring of Kerry, and I can't remember, but there's 5 different there's a main river there. And there's 5 different lake district that we take you to, but we have it like a jaunting car ride we take you to. And also, I forgot to mention this, one of the big highlights of our Ireland tour is that every Ireland package that we have, our guests stay in a castle. And I know Jennifer had a castle in her background screen, but we literally stay in a castle. That's like something we dream about growing up as a child. And one of the cool things about this particular program, the castle we say, is that every guest is going to have a different room layout. So you'll have your own unique experience when you're heading over into Ireland. So really, this is a fun tour. It's a great, the best time to go, I would say, if you want a really good price point, would probably be March and October. But I find guests will go anytime from like March to October. But high season obviously is going to be in the summertime when the weather's best, but you also get a lot of guests. I also wanted to show you kind of an off-season tour, and this one's called Irish Splendor. And it is a little bit shorter than the Shades of Ireland. So you might not have enough, like you don't want to spend, 10 days or 9 days there. And this one, the price point is very lower than our Shades of Ireland tour. I find that a lot of people who might be like, want to bring family members, they have little kids that they want to bring, and they're kind of on a budget, this is a great option for you for that, because this is kind of the major areas of Iceland. Obviously, you see the Cliffs of Moher, but you also get all the elements of what makes Ireland. And also fun little area too on the southwest end of Ireland. You're probably going to see a lot more Gaelic language, which is absolutely amazing because it's not a language that's not too well spoken. And you'll see that on the signs and the billboards and stuff. But once again, this is a great package during the off season for going over to Ireland. So outside of that, I wanted to show you some other packages that do also have Ireland, but they include some other areas. So one of the first ones I wanted to show you was exploring Britain and Ireland. So if you're a person like that's brand new to going to the UK, I'd recommend this because it does visit pretty much everywhere in the UK, right? You got Scotland, you have England, you have Wales, you have Ireland. I do get some guests who want to kind of see it all. And this one, definitely, you'll be able to see everything that the UK has to offer. And some of the highlights include the Stonehenge. We'll take you over to the birthplace of William Shakespeare, Stratford-upon-Avon, the Lake District. The Lake District is the northern area of England, northeast of Wales. And this is where, like, you've probably seen the movie Braveheart, where he was getting married to his wife, but the Lord at that time, the British Lord, had to sleep with her before he could get married to her. Well, that was kind of common at one period of time. So a lot of the Scots, they would run over into the Lake District to have informal and hidden weddings. So we'll learn about some of that history here. And obviously we'll get a lot of the Roman history that is included on this package. So definitely would recommend that if you want to see everything that the UK has to offer. Another package that we have is exploring Scotland and Ireland. Now this one is it sounds like, it's basically just Scotland and in Ireland. Now it doesn't just visit Ireland, it visits Northern Ireland. By the way, just to backtrack a little bit, that Shades of Ireland tour that I had mentioned, we do have an extension on that will take you over to Northern Ireland if you're interested in that. But in this particular program, once again, it's just mainly Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Ireland. You'll be able to do a little cruise on Loch Ness. We'll see over Urquhart Castle. We'll learn about the Jacobite uprising. We'll see the Giant's Causeway, numerous castles. We'll have a private tour of St. Patrick's Cathedral, beautiful architecture, and much more. So really a great tour if you want to see Scotland and Ireland and Northern Ireland on this tour. And our guides are absolutely amazing. So here's just some quick shots of what this tour has to offer. So here's Kilkenny, Waterford, which the crystal's really well known for. The Blarney Castle, where we'll climb the steps so you can kiss the famous Blarney Stone. And supposedly it gives you the gift of eloquence. Here's Killarney. It's one of the 6 national parks that make up Ireland, and it's in the Ring of Kerry. We'll have a car ride into it, like a jaunting car ride, which is like a horse and buggy. Here's just a shot of the Ring of Kerry. We do take you to an Irish farmer on a couple of our packages, so you can see a sheep herding demonstration, what it's like to live on an Irish farm. Here's a shot of just the jaunting car ride that I mentioned earlier. Here's Limerick. Galway, which is its nickname is the City of Tribes, and I believe there's like 13 tribes that came together to make up Galway, and they ran like the politics, the economy of what makes up Galway. Here's our castle that we see at a couple of our programs called Cobber Castle, and I think it's been around. I want to say it's been around since like the 1700s, and there's also beautiful gardens that surround the castle if you want to go out for a nice little walk in the evening too. Here's Donegal. Derry has a very political, I can't think of the word, but very political landscape with the Northern Ireland and Ireland. So we'll get a brief history of that. It's kind of not something I would like think when you think of the IRA and separation of the country, that that's what I think of it in terms of Derry. So we'll learn about that when we come into here. Here's Giant's Causeway, and remember that shot I showed you of how Grimskurja and Reykjavik in the castle and the architecture? Well, here it is again. Like, it's very similar in terms of Giant's Causeway. That's when at one period of time lava once again hit the ocean, and that's the rock formation that it forms. And we actually board a train that takes you over from Giant's Causeway over into Derry on this portion of the tour. The Glens of the Atrium, Belfast, and when we're in Belfast, we take you over to the Titanic Museum, where we'll learn about the construction of the Titanic, and they even still have some of the original cranes of the Titanic, and they're called like David and Goliath. I think that's what they're called, David and Goliath. So we'll learn about that while we're here. Here's just another shot of Drumlin Castle. This is a castle that we stayed at on one of our other programs, and we saw the Cobber Castle earlier. Dingle Peninsula, Christchurch Cathedral, Pompeii ruins. I believe this. Oh, okay. So that concludes that, and I'm coming to the end of this. I'm making good time here. I wanted to keep it underneath an hour. So firstly, I just want to say thank you all for listening to me, because I know I'm just talking up a storm here. So I really appreciate your patience. But hopefully I whet your curiosity and your appetite to go out there and travel the world again. We do have a special for all of you. So right here, there's a spring sale that's going on for any travelers looking to travel, but you can earn up to 20% discount on all the great tours that I had talked about. But in addition to that, I've given our travel agents an offer code that you can earn additional savings combinable with the discount. And this is something like nobody outside of this call is going to receive. And those additional savings can go up to $500 in addition to the up to the 20% savings. And you need to contact one of our 3 wonderful agents that are on this call to get that offer code from them. So they'll help you out with any questions, concerns, and hopefully they'll book an amazing trip for you. But we do have the April sale that is happening right now that's going to end on the 23rd. So make sure you book before that period, and we'll get you all signed up. So that concludes my presentation, and I thank you once again for all listening to me blabber on about some wonderful destinations. But honestly, I'm excited about traveling. I know all of you are too, and we'll get you on a trip of a lifetime. So does anyone have any questions in general? Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask any questions. I know I saw the chat box open up here. Does anyone have any questions? I do have a question here. What dates are you scheduling? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Eloise, could you broaden that up a bit? As in, what dates are we scheduling travel, or?
Well, she asked earlier on chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
About Europe opening up, and didn't you tell me that Iceland is probably the first? Aren't they scheduling right now to travel?
Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry, I didn't see your earlier question. So yes, Iceland is officially open right now. They opened up about 3 weeks to a month ago. In order to go to Iceland, you have to be vaccinated. That is their rule. You have to provide proof of vaccination and bring that document with you to get into Iceland. Greece, I heard, is starting to open up actually in the next week or two. Croatia's opened up officially this week on Tuesday. Now, will this change in the future? 100% yes, right? We're not expecting you to travel like right now. This is just kind of giving you a preview of like some great trips to travel into the future once things start to open up. And in my opinion, I think UK is probably going to be one of the first international European countries to really fully open up. If you look at statistics on what's going on in the world in terms of vaccination per capita, the UK is in the top 5 in the world. Israel's number 1, UK's in there, US is in there, and then Bahrain, UAE, I think they're in the top 5 as well. So UK is doing a great job with vaccinations. And I can really see them opening up if I had to take a pretty well-educated guess, I would say by the fall at least. So definitely plan your trip around that time period. But let me give you some additional advice or additional information too, in terms of like what we suspect. And this is just strictly from Colette's perspective on like our policy in traveling from like right now in the near future. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to preface this because this is unprecedented what's going on in the world, and this can change day by day, hour by hour. But as of right now, because we're just starting to open up tours, in order to protect the health of our guests who want to travel, right now guests have to have either a proof of vaccination. So if you've been vaccinated, you know what I'm talking about, but essentially it's a documentation that shows that you've been vaccinated, and you have to have been given that final dose within 14 days before the start date of your tour. The second documentation is a proof of recovery. So I'm just going to read this off to you. So proof of recovery from COVID-19 would include both a copy of a positive test result dated within 3 months prior to the end of your tour, and also written documentation from your healthcare provider that you've been cleared to end quarantine. This written documentation must include your name and the date your positive test was performed. So that's one of the 3 documents that you need to provide. And then the third one is proof of negative COVID-19 test. And this would include a verifiable negative FDA-approved diagnostic COVID test showing date and time of test taken within 72 hours of the start date of your tour. Now, we've kind of played a little bit of scenarios that, let's say guests forget this document. They forgot their paperwork, right? And they're showing up on the tour. So what we're going to be doing is PCR instant testing. So our tour managers are going to be able to do instant testing before you hop on the motor coach. So I know, it's individual choice whether or not you want to get vaccination, but we also had to cater to the health of all guests, and we just can't take that risk as a company. So that is our policy currently, but I figured this probably will change as we move forward into the future. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I agree. I am. And so, we get these kinds of questions every day, and being a travel agent and having a travel agency, people ask me, it's like, are you guys okay? We still have people that are wanting to travel. Our first presentation, of course, was on the national parks and staying within the United States. The cruise industry, Royal Caribbean is coming in, going out of Bahamas. So they're switching their ships around. So I think I saw on one of the presentations that people are having this COVID rage and getting back at COVID by traveling.
It's called revenge traveling.
Did you see that? Revenge traveling.
Yeah, revenge traveling.
So we're just trying to start a travel revolution by doing these presentations. And, we're really not thinking anybody's going to be traveling to Europe, hopefully by the fall, but definitely in 2022. So I'm just so appreciative that everybody is joining us on these presentations so that they can just start dreaming about it. Where would they like to go? And, once everything does open up, and the great thing is too, Collette does have a full cancellation policy. So you don't have to really worry, that you're going to be out your money. And that was a big thing that happened in 2020, where a lot of people, not saying my agency, because my folks had travel insurance, but I'm just talking about what we read in the travel news. There were so many people that weren't able to get their money back. But Collette is definitely one of those companies. And that's why I'm so happy to have them do these presentations and be partners with them, because I trust them. And that's a big thing in our industry, is like, who would I go with? and definitely Collette is who I would take my trips with. And if I'm going to do it, I would think that that's proof enough that it's safe enough for you too. So if you have any questions, you just let us know. When Sarah did put in there, we're going to follow up with an email for everyone. And just we can include the specials that are being offered. And then tune in next time, every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. We'll have a new presentation. Let your friends and family know about us. And on May 27th, we're actually going to have a travel agent, our Travel Pros Brain Dump Q&A session. So we want everybody to fill out their questions for us, and then we're going to answer them on air for you. So lots of good stuff here. And again, thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for hopping on this wonderful webinar, and I thank Jennifer and her team for just being one of our wonderful travel partners in this industry. And I know all of us are really excited to get back to traveling. I tell you what, I am myself, and I had a big trip that got canceled because of COVID, and I look forward to taking it again once things get a little bit better here. But thanks for all coming out here. This is recorded, and if you do want to rewatch it or share it with family and friends, reach out to Glenda, Sarah, or Jennifer, and they can provide the recording to you. And otherwise than that, hope you all have a great evening.